everyone. Afternoon. I'm Ria Campos Lopez from Himbing, and I'm just waiting for my friend Jess to hop on. Thank you for joining us today. We hope that you're all doing well and keeping safe. It's been and hopefully we'll see. Uh, okay, while I'm waiting for Jess, I'll just introduce myself first. Like I said earlier, I'm Ria. I'm a mom of two boys. I have an almost 2 year old and an almost 4 year old. Their birthdays, Francisco's birthday is actually already on the 16th. And friend Antonio's turning 4 in July. So it's been a little bit crazy. So today we're actually going to talk about respectful parenting and what that means to us. We've been friends for almost 2 years now, but closer friends over the last year since we've been talking about respectful parenting together. And we have our everyday challenges of how do we stay respectful parents, or how can we be respectful parents, and what does that really mean? And that's always a tough question, right? Because as parents, of course, we start off with that thought that, yes, I'm going to make sure that I treat my child with the utmost respect and I will take care of them to the best of my abilities. But what happens when we can't do it, right? So, what is respectful parenting and how do we do it? And that's what I've actually personally been studying the last 2 years. Hi, Miles. Thanks for joining us. How? When we had an infant, it was a little bit easier to not lose our cool just because they're cute little babies and they are very set on survival. So even if they were crying, even if they were cranky, I felt, well, I'll just go with how I felt. I felt like I had more patience for them, right? But then, enter the 1 year old, enter the 2 year old. They start shouting back at you. They start they start answering you back. Their favorite word is no. Especially for those who have more than one child and they know how it is to take care of a toddler. Okay, or sorry, my friend Marla is on, and she has one child, but one child is just the same handful as two or three children, right? It doesn't make a difference when they're in their toddler mode, when they are being who they are. It is very difficult to find that center, to find our resolve to respect them, and sometimes screaming really just gets the better of us. So I don't really know what to do. Okay, so we already have a question about RIE principles for our 3 year old and then how to do it to an infant, right? Okay, that's two different things, and that's a great question, Miss K. How do you show respect to your child, and what can you do? And these are actually really just very small steps that we do know every day, that we do try to do every day. But like I said, in the midst of going crazy, then we forget, we tend to shout maybe. So we want to find small steps to find out how to help. Anyway, so yeah, going back to RIE and what it means, I'll just give you a quick background. The technical background actually is RIE, RIE, Resources for Infant Educators. Yes.
Hello. Hi, I'm Jess, and I'm really just a mom of two and a bit of a nerd. So I've kind of taken motherhood seriously. I don't know how else to explain it, but ever since in everything that I do, I always read up and prepare. And ever since I found out about Magda Gerber and RIE and peaceful parenting, that's kind of just been what I've been so passionate about because it's helped me in my journey through pregnancy and motherhood, and now motherhood with my first, and now motherhood with two together. So I mean, that's the reason why me and Ria decided to do these talks, is because we're so passionate about it, right? Yeah, we can go on and
Yep.
on. So we're like, maybe we can just go live so that other moms or other parents can hear about it, and hopefully someone is gonna take interest in or take some knowledge and use it, and hopefully it will help them in their daily lives.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to talk about the course first, or do you want me to talk about Magda
Go.
first?
You can talk about Magda.
Like we're so close. But anyway, so I was just saying before you joined. So Magda Gerber is the great lady behind the RAI, I guess parenting philosophy, or she had an
Yeah.
educaring philosophy. It's the combination of two words, educaring and educator and caring. Because we care as we educate, and as we educate, we also care. So her story actually is like one of ours. Also, she had her own kids, and when she took her sick child to the doctor, she was going to rattle off to the doctor what was wrong with her child, right? So, like, let's say when I bring Antonio to the pediatrician, I say, okay, Doc, Antonio has a cold, a cough, he's like this, he's like that. And this doctor turned out to be, who would have turned out to be her good friend and partner, Dr. Pickler, right? And Dr. Pickler stopped her and asked, wait, I'm going to talk to the child, and asked the child, even though this was a small toddler, how the child themselves were feeling. And this, I guess, sparked their relationship and a connection because the interest was to the child. And I posted it earlier. Sometimes we tend to talk over our children, right? So one of the great things of her philosophy is we actually talk to our children, even if they are non-verbal. So anyway, so I discovered this also, same as Jess, because I was looking for another way to be a parent, and I was upon the arrival of my second child, and with my first child in the height of toddler mode, I didn't know what to do. So the workshop called to me with the word peaceful parenting. Like, could I imagine a day without myself screaming, without myself stressing out? And so that's where it is now. So that's what happened. Same as Jess, I just love studying. And so
Yeah.
we had the privilege, actually, we had the privilege of working together first about
Yes.
sleep.
Yeah.
And to be honest, that actually didn't turn out to be, I think, a sleep consultant relationship. It turned out really to become a friendship because, like Jess said, she loves to learn everything she can. So everything I was talking about, she would ask me questions,
Yeah.
not in a bad way, just in a what does this mean way. So
Yeah.
Jess also encouraged me to look past what the actual sleep was, right? And how to apply that to my child and be more respectful. And also through Jess's prodding, I joined the foundations course. So since then, I think maybe we've been talking at least once a week, um,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Anything to do from yelling, trying not to yell at our kids, to how do we apply a theory. So I guess also Jess was saying one of the things we have a problem defining is what is it to be a respectful parent,
Yeah.
right? Or how can you be one?
Yeah, because I
So
feel like the word respectful parent is often used, and then people are like, what does that mean? Respectful parent? Of course we're respectful, right? But respectful parent is the term respectful parent um is used in conjunction with Rai parenting, actually, right? Or more of Magda Gerber's teaching. So that's what we're kind of going to discuss today. What it's all about. This is just like an introduction talk, right, Priya?
yeah, yeah, because it's
Yeah,
so broad. When we
it's
were
so
trying
broad.
to break down what it was, respect can be broken down into our different aspects in the day. I think maybe that was the problem. We can't define respect as an overall principle, even if we want to,
Yeah,
right? Because respect actually in its in its definition is just giving due regard to the other person, or taking into
yeah,
consideration the other person's feelings, what they want, what they need, or even what they believe in. So I
yes.
think this is hard to translate to we have a viewer who has a 3-month old, and she was asking
Okay.
how do we do that. Maybe do you want to start there, Jess?
Well, here I
How do
have
you show
actually, this
respect?
is
Because
our foundations binder, and this is the vision statement of Rai. So it says here, through our approach, we honor infants and young children as equal members in relationships. And I think that's really the difference with how Rai defines respect as the regular versus our normal definition of respect. Because usually it's respect your parents. This is
Oh
the first
yes,
time
correct.
we'll say respect your child, and of course we respect them, but how? And it's respect them as individuals through meaning their stages in development. They're all gonna be different, and just respecting them for them individually as a person. Because it's
Yeah.
oftentimes the first year of life is very stressful for parents because it's like first there's I feel like we always are on a quota, sleep quota, feeding quota,
Feeding.
how much are they drinking, how much are they sleeping, are they turning, are
Yeah.
they doing this
And
and
then
this and this and this,
milestones.
and
Are they
milestones.
gaining
And
weight?
of course, yeah, are they gaining weight? And are they growing, right? And these are all valid, especially because your child does need to grow at a certain curve. But sometimes we get very obsessive, right? Like he needs to be this weight by this age, or he needs to
Yep.
be turning. Like my daughter is not hitting her milestones as early as my son, but
Okay.
I have. Oh, hi,
We have a
Antonio.
special guest. This is my almost 4-year-old who's starting to drop his naps.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's a big boy
So
now.
back to A. Your A. This is my A.
My is my daughter. So because she's also a preemie, so I always have to keep that in mind that she's not gonna hit her milestones, but she's growing at her own pace. So knowing the milestones is important because early pretend your child does have a learning disability or some red flags. You also have to be aware of those, right? So you can't just say,
Yes.
"Oh, they're gonna grow in their own way in their own time." You still have
Yeah.
to be aware. You still have to be conscious of developmental milestones, but don't force your child to reach them at a certain age, at a certain time. Is I feel what my the biggest stress relief I got from Rai is just really fully embracing and understanding that my child is an individual and they're gonna do their own thing when they want. Not when they want, when they
Yes.
can, when they want,
When they can.
when they can. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with you there because I think the other thing when we talk about infants is we know in our head they're unique people, but
Yeah.
because we have a hard time understanding them or they can't communicate, then we
Mm.
do things to them, right? I think that
Yeah.
was one of the biggest things that my takeaway was because we have a small infant or even a toddler who can't communicate with us very well, we tend to assume what they want
Yes.
or what they need, and we sort of like try to like go before so that they don't maybe cry, right?
Yes.
One of my examples for that is and I did it also as a first time mom. If my child was crying in the middle of the night and I didn't know how else to soothe, I'd always just resort to a bottle or boob, right? Not differentiating, oh, what's wrong now,
Yeah.
but more of because of my panic, because of all the crying, that 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 came ahead of my respecting my son.
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
Yes, and
And
I think that also brings us to another point of parents always having to fix the problems of their babies. Oftentimes
yeah,
you hear, I don't know what my daughter wants. It's like the pressure is always the baby's asking, "Mom, fix this for me, fix this for me." But sometimes they're just whining because they're trying to get like my daughter now. She's like on the floor. She's tired. Now.
yep,
And then at first I was like, "Should I pick her up?" And then I
yeah.
give it time. I observe. I give it time. It's called tarry time, right? I give time, and then I realized she was whining pala because she was trying to push herself up.
Yeah. Yeah, and
So
that's one of the
because
things that I just like to mention. And it always comes from a good place because I think we all have what my other teacher calls it a parenting heart. We love our kids so much that we want to make sure we're doing the best for them or giving them the best. So
yes,
exactly in your example, when they start to complain or
Yeah.
cry, we need to make sure they're okay, right?
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
guess that's the challenge, Jess. And you gave the example. The challenge is, what am I gonna do now?
Yeah. And I think also what the course also taught us is our definition as parents. We're
Mm,
there to be coaches, not to do things for them, right? And that also helped, like with my daughter now when she does floor time. Of course, I'm there to make sure she's safe. That's our goal. We're safe. We're giving them the opportunity to develop on their own time, not necessarily um, assist them every step of the way,
yeah,
right? We need to give them space for them to grow at their own pace. I think that's
correct.
really what I'm learning because I hope she's not watching, but my yaya is a bit of um very hands on, and she immediately a little cry. She wants to hold my baby now, so I was like, let's give her time, lay her on the ground. Let's see what she wants. And oftentimes, I think that's also the thing. We don't ask the infant what do they want. We're always fixing and doing things to them that we're not giving them the time to tell us what they really want. Because remember, infants are slower, right?
Yep.
Pace also, Ria. Let's talk about pace.
Yeah, that goes actually. It's so hard to make an outline because everything goes back to the other thing.
Yeah.
So one of our viewers, Mama Marge, said, "We don't belittle them because they are little. They are more
Yes.
capable than we think." And I think that's
Oh
a very
yeah.
good insight. And again, is Rai aligned? Just because they're slow, and that's exactly what you said, because they're taking their time and exploring, we don't rush them. They don't have adult reflexes, right? They don't have our quick movement or our, well, sometimes we try to think, maybe we think too fast actually, right? If you really
Yeah.
slow down and observe your child, exactly in your example, if your A is on the floor pushing, she might even be just feeling her fingers, looking at the ground. There's so many things. And
Yeah.
what the parent sees is, oh no, she can't get up.
Yes. Yes,
So then
exactly.
rush to help.
Will help her.
Yeah. But maybe she was just enjoying the texture. So it's a lot of things now. We have to be more open-minded to
Yeah.
what she might be thinking or what our child might be experiencing in that moment,
Yeah.
which again is stressful. I'm gonna go to that. Because even now, even though I've been practicing for almost 2 years, so my second is almost two. Yeah, he's not talking. So
Yeah.
even I feel that pressure
Yeah.
of like, so Jess, even when I talk to you, so I'll just make cuento because Jess and I talk about our two young her eldest and my youngest are only 3 weeks apart. So even though I consciously practice Rai, I still can't help but compare
Yeah.
it.
Hey,
Right?
don't worry, Ria. I thought Benjamin was colorblind. Because he doesn't know his colors. I'm always like, Benjamin, what color is this? And he's like, pink. Everything is pink. I'm like, it's blue in my head, but I'm like, all right, another day.
Yeah,
If
we'll
it,
work on it again tomorrow. Um,
yeah,
yeah, so what's one of the most important things though that you've taken away and that you really try to practice every day?
I think do everything with love, and it sounds so cheesy, but the message, but it to me it simplifies everything. And when you say do everything with love, so when your infant and when your toddler is at his worst, I always think, what message can I send to him that shows him I'm supporting him and I'm loving him? And that kind of simplifies everything, yeah. So instead of fixing it, that can also be showing love. I'm there to support him and say I understand that you're so upset with me, or you're so upset. I understand that you're tired. um and whenever I always have that in my mind, instead of flipping out like what does he want, would be my initial reaction to a screaming toddler. It's always like, I understand. And that immediately calms the both of us down and helps with all situations. In my opinion, I think that's what helped me the most, is to do everything with love and just accept the pace and individuality. That's really
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I think that's really important, and I think a lot of parents feel that. And I guess mine, in addition to that, would be to try to observe more
Oh yes.
rather than do more, right? So one of my favorite Magda Gerber quotes, yeah, Antonio's talking to me. Yeah, after I talk, right? One of my favorite Magda Gerber quotes is to what's it to do less, observe more, and
Mm-hmm.
enjoy most, right?
Oh
And maybe
yeah.
that's one of the things that we're talking about now. So Jess was talking about the do less in terms of fixing, but providing the right
Yes.
support. Then mine is the
Yeah.
second part, is to really observe more. So I
Yes.
think that's the key to everything, really, is to take a step back and not panic.
Yeah.
To
It
not let
really
our
helps to
panic
be
and
like,
concern but okay, of course, like I said, we have to maybe differentiate the situations from emergency situations, right, where of course you rush in, you help if there's danger, as opposed
yeah.
to those situations where your child is, let's say, playing or struggling to open a toy, but is
Mm.
maybe grunting a little bit, but not quite in a fit, not throwing it, but
Yeah.
just sort of like, and and that
Mm.
sound, that's the sound my 2-year-old makes, right? So also as a parent, it's our job, I think, and one of the harder things to do, but to not immediately react without
Yes.
observing what the context is,
Yeah.
no?
And
And I
also
think,
I think we also have to define like what kind of child or what kind of adult do you want? That's always what I'm thinking, right? If I'm fixing everything for my toddler now, not infant, because the infants really can't move and do things for themselves at the moment. But for my toddler, if I fix and do everything and he does not struggle at all, what kind of adult is he gonna be when he goes into the real world and there's
yeah,
really struggle, right? It's
yeah,
so difficult. So we're building emotionally and resilient children, I feel, with this
yeah. I think
method.
what's important, and I like that point, we're looking at the long-term growth of our child. We're investing the
Yeah.
energy and time now, because maybe also, let's just go, when we had the time or luxury to go out of the house and we were working, we were always in a rush, right? Rush, we
Yes.
gotta get from point A to point B. So maybe we had no choice but to rush our toddlers along with us, like we wanted them to nap shorter so that we could bring them out, right? Or we wanted them to get dressed faster because we have a
Yes.
meeting to go to or a play date to make. So it's really a matter of perspective. So also just adjusting now that we're home, and yes, we still have a schedule to keep because, like, we still have to get on this call.
Yeah. I still have
um,
to put makeup, guys.
right. So it's just also a matter of, again, going back to expectations and that they just move slower. So
Yes.
it's up to us to adjust to that and to
Yeah.
adjust our mindset.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's very hard because, again, we go back to exactly what you said. We think as parents, we're in charge, we're the boss. Maybe they have to follow us, or correct, they have to respect what we want,
Yeah.
without thinking, how does this affect our child, right? Or how
Yeah.
will this affect them? So,
And also
yeah.
even like going back to the crying, because I know a lot of
Mm,
people find it very they just can't stand the crying. One way
yep.
parents can think about crying is that's their only way to communicate. Not only, I mean, that's the only way they can verbally communicate at the moment. So just
Yeah.
like us, sometimes we're happy, sometimes we're annoyed, sometimes we're mad, sometimes we're fuming, right? There's different levels of our moods, right? So a
Yep.
little grunting here is just like, oh, sayang, I could have reached the ball, or
Yeah.
shucks, I'm trying so hard, or like pretend you're working out, I'm working out so hard, I'm struggling, or like my
Yeah.
my buns are burning from the squats. So it's like little grunting, but I'm not dying, right?
Yep.
And then
It's not the end of the world.
there's
You're
like
not gonna give up. You're not gonna give up on your oh, this is Antonio's cleaning
on
materials.
my
You're not going to give up on your workout, right? Just
yes,
because you're struggling.
yeah, but I'm struggling, right? But do I need someone to help me? Not necessarily. I'm just expressing that I'm struggling. And that's how babies are. They're just expressing themselves. It's a little painful. But then when you see them look at you and they're like, pick me up, then that's a signal to pick them up. But if they're looking at the ball crying, if you pick them up, you're actually distracting them from what they were trying to do. So you
Yeah.
thought you're helping them, but really you're distracting them. And I feel like that's what we do a lot, like infants with their adults. Like, look at this educational
I was
toy.
about to grab
Or
my phone,
here,
Jess, and do this to you also. Look,
right?
Jess,
Isn't
look at
that
my
so?
phone.
Like, imagine you're reading a book like a baby on the floor. He's so focused on this item, this toy, and then suddenly you're like, "This is my $100 toy here that will make you smart," right? When he's learning so much already about the toy that he has in hand through his own observations. So we have to give them space. And even going back to sleep, Ria, my daughter, when she sleeps, she actually doesn't want me to hold her. And it's
Yeah.
from my observation that I realized, okay, fine. You keep fussing when I hold you, I'll lay you down na lang. And then that's when she falls asleep on her own. So
Yeah.
sometimes
I
you
think
really do need to give them space.
Yeah, I think that's a really good thought also. And going back into observation, because we can't generalize all children, even if we'd like to
Yes.
make this easy and cut and dry and say, these are the things we need to do, right? So Jess just gave us a whole summary actually of all the of all the basic principles put together, from giving them their space, right? So it's our role to give them their space. So hopefully to set up a safe space for them. So I'm just gonna use my expertise. Sleep is one of the easiest ways to set up a safe space for them. So especially where we can lay them down and not be worried. That's one thing. And then Jess was also saying crying. Crying is definitely part of everything. Even as adults, we want to cry sometimes.
Yeah. And like when you're crying, parang do you want someone to be like, shh, shh? Or do you
Yeah.
want your partner to be like, I understand you're so upset right now, but I'm here for you, right?
Yeah.
Makes
I really
total
like that
sense.
example. Yeah, because we do that to our friends. So, like, for example, let's say, Jess, you're not feeling good, right? And you're crying, and I come into the room now and I see you. I don't rush in and go, Jess, what can I do? What's wrong? Why are you crying? How can I help
Yeah.
you? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I come in, and I come in as slowly as I can to
Yeah.
say, Jess, are you okay? I'll just sit here until you're done crying. And it's so
Yeah.
easy for us to do that with an adult. But then if you can just flip it, that's what we do with our kids. When they're playing or when they wake up and they're crying, we usually just run in, Anak, what's happening? It's okay. And then you sort of start like jiggling them, or
Yeah.
you start pacing, um,
Yeah.
thinking that that is what is helpful. And again, that comes from a good place, right? But especially after everything you just made cuento, now if we can contextualize, which would you rather, right? The approach I took first with, hi, Jess, can I help you? Or the, Jess, what's wrong?
Yeah, it's like I'm still saying Ria because this happened, and then you're like, shh, and we like, I still want to tell you, like why I'm so
Yeah,
mad,
okay.
right?
For our next episode, Jess, we have to have a script and act it out. Because I think that that really that makes it a clearer image in a lot of our heads.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that was difficult when we had first started was it seemed like everything was just theoretical.
Yes.
So that brings us to our struggle today. How do we make it work? And how is
Yeah.
it concrete?
Yeah.
Right? So maybe that's the other thing we wanted to provide, a little bit more examples or a little bit
Yeah.
more to make it more relatable.
Yeah, maybe to the viewers, if you guys have any questions that you'd like to ask or scenario that you struggle with your child, maybe we can specifically address it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, and then
we
we
and I
also
have
would
talk
have to
about this all the time, so we kind of get each
yeah.
other. But if it's your first time hearing about it, it might sound very abstract. Let us know what you think.
Yeah. And then I think the other question of one of our other moms earlier was doing right for an infant. Maybe you can give an example of how we would treat a 3-month-old respectfully.
Okay. Well, start with caregiving routines because that's pretty much
Okay, maybe
what you're
yeah, we have to define caregiving also
caregiving.
actually.
Feeding, diaper changing, um, sleep. Is that one of
Yeah.
them?
Yeah,
Sleep.
sleep, changing, feeding, basically anything where the child really needs assistance or help at this
Yeah.
point.
So I would say narrate. They call it sports casting, or I just call it narrating what you're doing because think about it. You're holding them. They don't really know that they're on a schedule. They don't know the concept of time, right? They don't even
Yeah.
have a clock. They don't have an iPhone. So to them, they just woke up and they don't really know what to expect. So think about the lang you're suddenly you wake up in a new place and someone is controlling your whole life, how would you feel, right? So, wouldn't it help if someone said, okay, Ria, good morning. I think your nappy is wet. And then I'm going to touch it so that she knows nappy. I'm going to remove your nappy now. And um, I'm going to wash you. I'm going to
Yep.
turn the water on. So that's the loud sound because they're like, what's that sound, right? The little things that we take for granted, they hear it and they feel it so much more because they're so tiny. So
Yep.
you narrate these things. I'm gonna turn on the lights now. It might be a bit bright. I'm gonna turn on the water. It's a little loud or it's cold. I'm gonna wash you now.
Yeah.
And by narrating, they kind of know the cues as to what's gonna happen next. So as they get older, they know when mom comes, when she said, I'm going to remove your nappy, it's not so scary that someone's going to remove my clothes, right? And then also picking them up. So imagine you're just lying down and somebody like scoops you up and you're like, where are we going now? And they're like,
Yeah.
baby's wet, I'm running. So slow down also. So narrate, slow down.
Yeah.
Because it's not an emergency. Even if they poo, you're still gonna get, even if you run, it will only save you maybe 10 seconds, right?
Yeah.
And it's safer too if you walk slower. So the baby has confidence and she remains calm throughout the whole process. So pacing is so important. And you also learn that when they're toddlers, when you speak to them, you condense
Yep.
the words. Like, are you scared? Don't be scared. Don't be scared of the dog. The dog is barking. See, are you
we yeah
scared? Are
we're
you feeling
supposed to
scared of
shower
the
them
dog?
with words and not drown them in it. I think
Yes.
that's one of my favorite quotes of Deborah. We
Oh,
don't
I don't
drown them in
remember
our
that.
words. I was like,
Yeah.
oh no, I was so concerned about their talking, right? I
Yeah.
ended up saying all these things rather than just can I change your
Yeah.
diaper, right?
Sometimes
It
there's
went
just so many words. Sometimes, like, with the, no offense, with the grandparents, it's like, tone it down. Let's slow down. Let's slow down. So I think
yeah.
that's it. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, for
And
the
then
infant
also,
yeah.
safe space
Mm,
and floor time.
yeah,
Give
we
them
can
freedom to
yeah.
move.
We can jump to that for the 9-month-old in a bit. But I
Mm.
think for the 3-month, going back to, remember we were talking about earlier observing and slowing down. If you
Mm-hmm.
apply what Jess said and you start narrating, it forces us to slow down as well. And then that
Yes.
brings us to what's most important though about caregiving is giving our child our full attention at that
Oh yeah.
time.
Mm.
I think, right? I think that's
And
what I
you'll
would
see
add. So
them at 3 months old. You'll see, I'll turn on the light. They'll look at the light. Or, I mean, they're really observing things as you walk from place to place.
yeah.
So that's your observation will start from day one. and their observation starts from day one too. So
Yeah.
it's really a partnership that will grow in time, and the
Yeah, that's
better
a good word.
you no partnership, the better you observe, the better you understand, and the better you'll be able to meet their needs. And that's why it makes it so much more carefree. It's because you give yourself time to understand. Once you understand it, you get it now. You're right.
Yeah. And that works so well because again, remember the first thing that kicks in for a new parent or even a second time parent with a smaller child is always panic. It's always what's wrong?
Mm.
What's
Yeah.
happening?
It's what's wrong is like the first. I
Right?
remember when I first gave birth to my first child, it was always like, is it normal? Oh my Google, is it normal if? Is it normal if?
Yeah. Is this okay? Is this
It's,
okay? What's
yeah.
happening? But that is because I guess we allow nga our panic to step in first. So I guess maybe for all parents, even now, the first is really take a breath and observe and slow it down. And when we talk
Yeah.
about slow, if I so just to give you an image, if I'm moving toward the camera now, this feels slow, right? And but we could for our baby that slow is already there fast. So
Mm.
well for me personally when Deborah said slow, it wasn't just slowing down like half a step, it was slowing down like four steps, like
Whoa. Yeah.
yeah, with that tone, sort of like slower than those who have to walk down the aisle. That's not slow
Yeah.
enough.
That's for younger babies. And also your voice. If ever you meet Deborah, you she's so calm. And that's also one thing I learned how to do is speak to my kids in a very calm way. And
Yeah.
then, well, my son is a toddler now, but he's pretty chill. And so I think that really helps. And you're not, when you're in a panic, they're also like, why is mom panicking? But if you're calm and you're confident, you're like, mom's there for me.
Yeah, calm is really contagious. That's
Yeah.
something also that we want to say. And so I'm just gonna make a quick interruption and say Philippine Montessori Center is joining us. This is Laura. Hi,
Hi,
Laura.
Laura. I hope
So Laura is
Laura.
actually our RI expert here locally.
Yeah.
But she's still busy wrapping up the school year. So we'll have her on soon with us so she can give us more I would say more answers to see how making the small changes with younger kids really makes an effect when she sees them as older kids in her school,
Yes. Yeah,
right?
because like Ria and I have two kids. That's our like experiment. Those are our experiments, right? But someone like an educator like Laura, who's been a teacher for, I don't know, Laura, how long have you been a teacher? 20 years or
We're
something?
gonna make her buko.
Forever, because Laura's second generation already. They really see how the long term effects of parenting strategies like these can help children become teenagers, become adults in the long run. So, to me, I take parenting serious. Only 17. Oh, sorry, Laura. Laura's very young, only 7. But with so much information. But I'm just saying, like the reason why I take parenting seriously is because for me, people these days we have a lot of mental health issues too, and it all comes down to how we're raising our children today, right? So as much as parenting is fun and I make it fun and light, it's because I take it seriously. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I think it's also just really laying the foundation because one of the most important things that I think I realized also is the time, attention, and care we give to our young children and infants is what they will remember when they're older
Yeah.
kids, right?
Yeah.
And if we don't have good communication with them now as a toddler, so with our screaming toddler, if we just tell them to keep quiet, stop, and then we don't explore those feelings or we don't help them understand those feelings, then when they're a teenager, it'll be the same thing. It might be, I won't say it's too late, but it will be a more difficult um, thing for the parents to try to connect at that point. When
Yeah.
if we've started this early, and also parenting, I think is like a muscle or a skill for us. Like when we talk about being respectful, when we talk about how to use the words around our kids, it's practiced today. Even at a very young age, even for our 3 month newborn or 9 month old, right? Because
Yeah.
in a few years, it's like I was making cuento before you hopped on. It's like I blinked and my child is now 4.
Yeah.
So if I don't put in the time now when it's difficult, then I don't think there's going to be a better time to do
Yeah.
it,
And
right?
you really see the effects of pretend. My Benjamin now, who's 2 years old, what I've done a few months ago is blooming now. They're
Yeah.
like plants. They're like plants. So people who love to watch plants bloom, chill, and if you're single and watching this, it's like being a plant parent. You're slowly watching them bloom, and some plants like to be in more sun, some need more water. It's just like our kids, just like us, right? You and Ria and I are completely different people. We have the same values towards parenting, but we're completely different individuals. So um, that's really the center of it, right? Is
Yeah.
respecting that we are individuals. And also, one thing I like about Rai or Magda is authenticity, which is the stamp
Sorry.
of many of our social problems these days, right? It's learning how to be authentic, especially in our culture where we're so used to yes mom, yes mom, yes sir, yes, 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 yes. And then when you're
Yep.
older, you don't know how to stand up for yourself. You don't know how to make decisions because everything was done for you, right? You're always like,
Yeah.
Mama, what should I do? Think about it when you're older and you still don't know what to
Yeah.
do, how difficult that is. It's by doing everything for our children and including decision making, even if it's good, even if it comes from a good place, it can actually be a disability in the long run. So these are the things we need to think about as
Yeah.
parents also. And also discipline.
Yeah. I
We're
think
always
that,
talking about
yeah.
discipline. It's
Yep.
discipline. The parent needs to be the most disciplined. That's why I don't eat sweets in
Because
front
we're
of
the role
them.
models.
Yeah, and it's so unfair. It's like imagine if you
Yeah.
put candies all over your room, and then your husband's like, "You're not allowed to eat it." Isn't that so? Like I'd be throwing a tantrum. Like, what do you mean? Like, why are you gonna show it to me? Right? It's the same
Yeah.
as with my kids. So it's like I have to control myself because you are the role model, like what you're saying.
Yeah, I think that's also a big word. I think one of the last concepts that we can tackle today, we have 10 more minutes, is what you
Okay.
just said is, yeah, it went by fast. We can talk another hour.
Yeah.
We're not even, thank you for being with us this whole time, guys. We haven't even hit the tip of we're at the very, very tip of the iceberg.
Oh yeah.
We're not even anywhere near the water. But one of the biggest terms that Jess just mentioned, I think, is the authenticity of the child and making sure that they know who they are and they're happy with who they are. Well, that's how I define it, right? The technical definition again from Rai is one who is competent, connected, secure, but also independent. So these terms don't all go together, right? It makes but really, if they are secure in their connection to us, then they can go off and be independent kids and do well and excel well without our help also.
Yeah.
And I
And
think maybe,
also it. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, no, that's the challenge is,
Sorry, it's lagging.
yeah. Jess?
Okay.
Yeah,
We were
go ahead.
lagging there. Okay. No, go ahead because I'm sorry, it's lagging so you're still talking, but we're good now.
Okay,
Continue.
I'm done now.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't hear it because it was lagging.
Oh, okay, sorry. It was just that
Um,
it's we just have to find the middle ground between a secure connection and allowing them to do what they can.
hmm, yeah. And also remember, what was it? The initiator. What's it? What's
They're
the right
natural
term? They're
explorers.
they're natural explorers and initiator, because another stress I think most parents have is teaching. How do I teach and fill my baby with information so that they become smart geniuses, right? But babies, and I'm saying babies like infants, are um, they're explorers. You put something in front of them, three things, three items. You think they want to touch this one, but sometimes they fool you. They want to explore that ball or that piece of item, and it can be super simple. So I think when you believe that they are um, innately what's it? How do I say it? Innately able, or they want to learn, then you kind of step back as a parent and say, okay, I don't need to teach them everything because they can teach themselves if I give them the opportunity, which is a prepared and safe environment.
Yeah, I think that would, Jess. I think that's a good topic for our next our talk. Is
Yeah.
expounding on that fact that they can learn. Because again, the assumption is when your baby comes out, they're helpless, right? But that doesn't mean that they're not learning. I think
Or
maybe
they're
that's
not, yeah,
one of
they're
the
not
things,
doing
right?
anything.
They think, or actually,
Yeah.
that was the old belief. The psychology for babies and children have also evolved over the years. One of the earlier beliefs, maybe in the 1800s, was that a baby comes out as a blank slate, knowing nothing, right?
Mm,
And we found in the
yeah.
recent years, yes, they know nothing, but it's not because we tell them that they learn. It's because they observe, right? And then that's how
Mm,
they learn on their own. So experiential learning has also become like a key term in the last few decades. It wasn't here before. So
yeah.
also maybe, yeah, just to tie up to we feel like we want to talk about this more is because parenting styles have also changed over the years. Maybe due to what we've learned also.
Yeah. And also, I think the whole point of why Rhea and I want to do this is really just to help, because I remember people would always scare me like, oh, you're gonna be a mom now, the baby's gonna be so stressed, it's gonna be so difficult now, you're so tired, right? Or, oh, your toddler is da 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 da. And then but now I'm living it, I'm like, yes, it's true, it's really tiring, especially if you don't have help, or your tribe isn't that big. But it's so much fun and fulfilling. Um, and I think that's really what the whole philosophy has allowed me um, to be as a mom, is to really enjoy it, which I think is a real privilege, to be able to enjoy this miracle. There really are miracles,
Yeah. Yeah, and
right?
that goes nga into the last point of that quote. So I guess actually that probably summarizes what we talked about today. To do less,
Mm.
to observe more, and her last is to
Mm-hmm.
enjoy most. And sometimes I think that's correct.
Yeah.
With my first son, I was so pressured and stressed about what is he learning, what's happening, is he doing this, is he getting it right, that I wasn't
Mm.
enjoying being a mom, right? And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, not that that has totally gone away, okay? I'm still sort of like the OC mom that checks in and says, should I be in school?
Ria's a lawyer, by the way. So
Yeah, that
that
technical side,
takes a certain personality to become a lawyer.
it's really to
Yeah.
play and relax.
Mm. Oh no. It's lagging. It lags again.
Yeah.
Do you
So,
wanna talk about, do you wanna give
yeah.
do you wanna answer the question about tips for 9-month-old baby?
Yeah, well, okay. So everything we said already applies to the 9-month-old. But then the next key, I think, for a 9-month-old is what Jess was talking about, a safe space for them to explore. No?
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah, right
important.
now, I think for a 9 month old, they're very mobile already at this point, probably crawling. I would say safe space, meaning you can leave the baby, and the worst thing that can happen is you find them crying, but they're
Yeah.
not choking, they're not in a hole like on the floor. Um, so for me, it's in the baby room. There's a gate, and I make sure all the items in the room they cannot choke on or hurt themselves. So
Yeah.
that gives me the freedom as a mom to go to the bathroom, cook, make calls, right? But before I leave my baby, I make sure diapers changed, well fed, and just woke up from a nap. So they have enough energy to be on the floor by themselves.
Yeah. And nice and relaxed. And that also leads into not having to teach them, because
Mm-hmm.
we allow them that time. So of course, there's two different times. There's want something time and wants nothing time. So we just have to separate. So yes, as they're older, yes, there is learning time, right? You might have to teach them how to do things, but there are also days as like or and chunks of time in your day as Jess described where we can just leave them on their own to explore and to allow
Yeah,
them to have their own space and time and fun, because again,
like us.
what is
We
fun
need
for
our own
them,
time. Yeah.
right? What is fun for them might not be fun for us. So like me and Jess getting on now on nap time, this is our time. This is our time to connect, right? So our kids can have their own time to connect during like a free play time in their safe
Yeah.
space.
I think also to add for a 9 month old specifically, I would get low shelves. Like what I did was I actually
Mm.
found these three shelves. They're like cubby holes. Then I just laid it horizontally like this. So, because your
Mm-hmm.
baby will start to pull up and then they'll be able to cruise. Or you can buy those bars on the wall, put a mirror. They can cruise, look at themselves. And also the limit the amount of toys. You don't want to
Oh
fill
yes.
the room with toys. Remember, it can be over too many, um, to overstimulation. Maybe for their age, you can do like five, just a few, 4 or 5 toys maybe, so they can also practice their concentration. Um, and really focus and absorb the toy, because for a baby, like for me, maybe this is just like, oh, headphones, like 1 second of my time, but for them this is like, what is this, it's the texture is different, they don't know what it's for, so it
Mm-hmm.
can really be anything. This is not safe, by the way, for young. You can leave a book. Okay.
Yeah.
So but I'm just saying their perception of things is so completely different from ours.
Yeah.
So
Correct. So yeah, we can have another session talking about the safe space toys and all of that. Actually, sorry, Jess, we're down to our last 5 minutes. So
okay, go for it.
yeah, no. So I just wanted to say to wrap up. I don't know what's the one homework you think you want to do for yourself this week, Jess, that we can share.
For my kids is
Yeah, or no, for
more
yourself.
observation. For what?
Okay. So this week we'll work on observation.
Yeah. And it's not
Yeah.
just like, oh, they turned over. It's watch their fingers, watch the tiny movements, watch their eyes. That's always what I look at my toddler when he's flipping out and crying and I don't know what's going on. What is he looking at? It tells a lot when you observe what they're looking
Mm.
at.
Yeah.
Because they can't say it, but they're looking at,
Yeah.
that's the one, mom, that's the one, not
Looking.
that, you know? And the same with an infant.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So thanks for joining us all today. So just to wrap up, maybe we'll leave you with the homework of observing. So do less, observe more, and enjoy most. I think is our words of wisdom for today. Thank you for being with
Yeah.
us. We're gonna upload this later on our IGTVs, YouTube, and Facebook. Thanks so much for joining us. Please feel free to send us messages about what you'd like us to talk about, because whether or not, well, we hope you enjoyed, but Jess and I enjoyed. So Jess and I are gonna continue the conversation every week, as we've been doing. So we want to also maybe answer more specific questions or more specific examples. And as we go on, we're also going to be inviting some guests to join us, so that you can get more parenting perspectives. And also, toward the end of July, we'd like to have a more structured talk to really help establish how can we observe, what can we do, and what else we can do together. And here we have a question for siblings. So yes, siblings is a good one, and Jess and I
Yeah.
are in the height of dealing with siblings, and we would
Yeah.
love to talk about that more.
Oh my gosh. That's what we
So
talk about
yeah,
anyway. So you can just listen into our conversation. Ria has two
yeah,
toddlers. I have an infant and a toddler. So we practice Raya a lot. It saves us
yeah. Life
from our
life has
from
not been
losing
the
our
same.
marbles. Yeah.
Okay, so Jess, last 2 minutes.
That's it. I think if anyone wants to, yeah, shoot us a question so that we know what you guys struggle with and hopefully we can help.
Yeah, thank you so much. We hope you guys have a peaceful weekend with your family. And also let us know if anything that you heard today helped you, maybe in this next week. We'd also like to hear feedback so that yeah, we can continue to post. Jess and I are also both passionate about trying to help where we can. So I like to talk about sleep and positive parenting, and Jess is now also focusing on parenting, women's rights, especially pregnant women or moms in general.
Yeah.
Especially in this time of pandemic, we feel that not a lot of people maybe have a source, or have the same support group that they had
Mm-hmm.
before. So
Yeah.
please feel free to reach out to us. We'd like to help or to provide support where we can. Sort of right like also.
Yeah. I mean, we're
Yeah.
moms, so we know that it's not easy. And
Jess, sorry, it's got cut off.
no worries. Was there a time limit?
Yeah, no, there was. That's why I was telling you it was the last 1 minute.
Oh, I thought we manually. Sorry, guys. I'm a newbie. I thought it would just end by itself. I thought like you would end it. I didn't know there was a real timer.
Yeah, no, it was really running down. That's why I was like, wait,
Oh
say
my
bye.
gosh!
And the timer lied a little bit because it said 30 seconds and I was gonna say, okay, say bye, and then it just cut off.
No, I was just saying that parenting is not easy, and even if you do have supportive partners and a tribe, there's nothing like the support of another mom. Um, yeah, there like no one else will get it until you become a mom, right? So I
Yeah.
think we as parents or as moms need to really be as supportive and non-judgmental as we can,
Yeah.
because
I,
it's all about respect of our individual everything, including our different mothering styles, right? Our parenting styles.
yeah.
And as we've all experienced, each birth, each baby, each mom, each family, all different.
Yeah. I thought.
And even like now, our family dynamic is always changing too. So that's about it. We just have to be there for each other.
Yeah. And that's what we're trying to do. So okay. So thanks, Jess. Again, thanks everyone. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my very limited editing skills to put this together, and then Jess and I will upload later today.
Okay.
Thank you for
Thanks,
joining. So
Ria.
yeah, thank you. So we'll see you guys next Friday. Okay. Same time, same
Bye.
place. Bye.
Okay, bye.